Hello everyone, I'm Fang Lin. Welcome to my channel. Today, I'd like to share with you the topic. Suicide does not provide an escape from suffering, rather, it leads to even more complex difficulties. Since suicide is considered an unnatural death, it carries strong negative emotions such as despair and anger. Those who take their own lives typically linger in the underworld closest to the physical realm or in the lower realms of the spirit world. Due to their low energy levels, their souls remain in the lower dimensions near the Earth's surface. Because their natural bonds have not yet been severed, these souls feel an extraordinary heaviness, trapped between the physical and spiritual worlds. They are unable to communicate with the living or enter higher spiritual realms. That realm is somewhat invisible. There are guardian deities there, similar to rescue teams on Earth. They specialize in rescuing those who have committed suicide, died suddenly, or perished in accidents. They bring back the fragments of these souls and mend them back to wholeness. Our bodies have many layers, one of which is called the astral body, which is sometimes also fragmented. The Dharma protectors responsible for rescuing the astral bodies bring these suicides back and restore them to wholeness. Those who have taken their own lives are saved, but it takes a very, very long time for them to return to normal, because when they commit suicide, their souls sink into a very low and extremely miserable realm. That realm is so low, and the vibration is too low. It is quite difficult to raise that vibration to the normal level of human vibration, so it takes a very long time to heal their fragmented spiritual bodies. Then their souls must be reincarnated as humans again, and it takes 2 or 3 lifetimes before they can be as intelligent as they were before. The souls of those who commit suicide go to a place slightly different from where ordinary deceased souls go. They go to a space where they must repair their own souls, because most who commit suicide pass away carrying very heavy emotional thoughts. These negative emotions are extremely heavy energies, much like the polluted river god in Spirited Away, covered head to toe in sticky, foul-smelling mud. This energy traps your consciousness in one place, trapping you in a miniature cycle of reincarnation where your suffering plays out over and over again. There is no such thing as a punishment in the afterlife. Leaving physical life does not help you escape anything, it merely returns you to physical life, where you will once again face the very situations you were trying to avoid, and you will find yourself back at square one. From the technical perspective of frequency resonance and life contracts, suicide is a technical error rather than a sin. There is no external God or judge in the universe to pass judgment on those who take their own lives. Life is a consciousness experiment or an entrance exam. Suicide is viewed as leaving the exam early or voluntarily abandoning the experiment. This is a technical error that results in failing to complete the required coursework. Frequency determines one's destination. The soul's post-death destination follows the principle of the resonance with like frequencies. Before death, those who commit suicide are typically in a state of extreme despair and suffering. This heavy and turbid, low-frequency state of consciousness will directly carry the soul into a corresponding, low-frequency realm. Because the sensory shield of the physical body is lost, that psychological pain is amplified by the pure consciousness, creating a sense of inescapable loneliness and distress. If a person considers suicide because their life script is too painful, much like unplugging a game console because it's too difficult, the soul, being immortal, will soon be rebooted by the system and reincarnated. Since the frequencies of fear and despair from the previous shutdown remain, the new life script often begins at the same difficulty level or even a harder one. Everyone is reborn with a karmic ledger that determines the lifespan of this lifetime, say, 80 years. If you commit suicide at age 30, the energy for the remaining 50 years remains unused, which causes the soul to become a wandering spirit in the bardo state. In that dark realm, without the shielding of physical senses, the soul's perception of suffering is magnified 10,000-fold. What appears to be the remaining 50 years to the living may feel like tens of thousands of years to the soul of a suicide victim. Due to a lower energy state, those who commit suicide will descend to a corresponding gloomy spiritual plane, where it takes a longer time to purge their emotions. Ultimately, they will still be assigned a new cycle of learning, and are typically placed in a more difficult and oppressive scenario to retake the test. If one departs with intense attachments, they may become stuck in a certain energy field, a condition known as spiritual stagnation. When a person dies, the soul returns to the rest area of the reincarnation planning zone, but not the disheartened human consciousness, because your attachments and negative emotions are too heavy, forcing them to separate from the soul, like shattered fragments. Moreover, not all parts of you will be retained by the soul and remain stranded on Earth. At the very moment the physical body ceases to breathe, the soul's senses yearning to see someone, to say goodbye. At this moment, the soul's consciousness expands infinitely, like water spilled from a bowl, suddenly losing the bowl's fixed shape. At this moment, the soul's consciousness can be here and elsewhere simultaneously, spanning multiple dimensions, and can even appear at once beside the tens of thousands of people you have known in this lifetime, for consciousness is infinite. Immediately after death, the soul merges with human consciousness, that is, the true you comes to merge with the consciousness of the human ego, and is guided by guardian spirits to rest in the higher realms. However, the soul's frequency is so high that the human ego's consciousness cannot immediately perceive the presence of the soul or the guardian spirits. Because consciousness is expanded, the human ego's overwhelming emotions and sensations cannot be absorbed all at once. Since the soul's frequency is so high, if you harbor attachments, you cannot integrate with your soul and will be left behind on Earth. Moreover, the soul will not force you to integrate with it, as it respects free will. Thus, the heavier, more fragmented parts will descend. These descending fragments represent the parts of human consciousness that are more attached, reluctant to let go, and unable to release. They become separated from the soul, turning into fragmented entities that remain in the places where people have died. Therefore, the ghosts you see in these places of death are often merely fragments of their lingering thoughts, obsessions, and attachments, not necessarily their actual spirit bodies. Most of these fallen fragments are imbued with intense emotions, a reluctance to part with loved ones, resentment toward those who have wronged them, or a desire to see everyone one last time. Given that consciousness separated from the soul through free will can attach itself to others as karmic creditors, because the soul is separable and infinitely divisible, we reunite through the gravitational pull of karma. Once debts are settled, we can bring the consciousness attached to one another back home, making the light more complete. This is a concept entirely distinct from hell. Unless the process of death is peaceful and accepting, one can feel the delicate light of heaven enveloping the spirit of the human ego. When the human ego and one's greater soul integrate and unite, there is a sensation of being embraced by parents, a feeling of light and warmth, along with a sense of blissful elevation. Our souls do not enter the cycle of reincarnation. The soul's true home is in the fifth realm, the home of the enlightened master. Only a very small, minuscule part of the soul enters the cycle of reincarnation, entering the three realms to undergo rebirth. Souls are all at the level of bodhisattvas or higher than Tathagatas. They do not enter the cycle of reincarnation. What truly undergoes reincarnation is not the soul itself, but rather your fragments and avatars, which go to different worlds, different dimensions, and different planets to be reborn. Earth is merely one aspect of your soul. Before entering the cycle of reincarnation, the soul must first register at the reincarnation planning department. There, the soul maps out its life blueprint, taking into account the karmic factors accumulated in the past, which serve as lessons for the next life. The soul creates a consciousness embryo. Since the soul's inherent energy frequency is extremely high, it must resonate and harmonize with the energy of consciousness to lower its frequency before entering a physical body. When shaping the personality for the next life, the soul has the power of choice. It can select entirely different personality traits, or, because it appreciates a specific virtue from a past life, such as bravery or responsibility, it may decide to retain that trait and incorporate it into the personality of the next life. Once everything is ready and the aware baby is born, it is propelled by the gravitational pull of karma. These fragments travel to different worlds, dimensions, or planets, growing within physical bodies and experiencing various encounters until that life comes to an end. This mechanism allows the soul to gain experiences on Earth or other planets through different aspects of itself, without requiring the soul's true essence to become entangled in the low-frequency material world. This is what it means when I say you do not actually exist here, only a small part of you is present here. You do not truly exist in this human realm. Before reincarnation, the soul typically signs off on a kind of life plan or script. If one commits suicide midway through, it amounts to a failed experiment. After a brief stay in the spirit realm, the soul is usually required to retake the course, that is, to reincarnate into a similar environment and confront the difficulty that led to the suicide once again, until you learn how to handle it. Yuan Wu himself, in his countless past reincarnations, has also chosen suicide on several occasions. As a result, he was forced to remain stuck in the same place or repeat the same life script. He jokingly refers to this as an extremely wasteful use of time. Facing the same challenges again in the next life or a parallel world is, in essence, a waste of time, a waste of the soul's time. The spirit realm is a massive virtual reality game. Each of us is both a player and one of the game's developers. Life is not predetermined by fate, but rather a contract between the soul and the human ego. The structure of the script consists of fixed points and flexible space. Fixed points are major events set before reincarnation, such as parents, place of birth, pivotal turning points in life, and the approximate time of death. Flexible space, how you react, what choices you make, and how you elevate your consciousness between these points, this part is entirely up to you. Revising the script is not about praying to gods or Buddhas, but about reclaiming the authority of your consciousness. When reviewing one's life, the soul examines that suicidal existence from a perspective transcending time and space. You will see the turning points that would have emerged had you persisted instead of taking your own life, along with the countless parallel world subplots unfolding simultaneously. Only then will you realize you had merely walked into one of many dead ends. You will understand that the predicament you faced at the time was merely a minor obstacle. Had you simply stepped over it, infinite possibilities would have unfolded, possibilities that were infinitely vast and beautiful. That so-called obstacle was never an obstacle at all. In the spirit realm or higher dimensional spaces, there is no past or future. You experience every moment of your life simultaneously, and you see a contrast between two paths. One is the life you actually lived, and the other is the best version you could have achieved, the blueprint for your life script that your spirit guides showed you when you first came down. When a person who has taken their own life sees that they only needed to persevere a little longer to turn things around, that overwhelming sense of regret is what causes the soul to tremble. Since Earth is a closed learning system, your soul will choose to reincarnate and try again. It's like standing in line to buy a ticket to see a movie, walking out halfway through because you don't like it, but still wanting to know the ending. So you buy another ticket and go back in. Suicide carries consequences. Compensation must be made to those affected. Your suicide causes suffering to loved ones and wastes social resources. Your soul must repay the negative energy generated by these actions in the next life. Because you quit the game in your previous life, your soul's credit limit is reduced when arranging the next incarnation. You may be forced to choose a more challenging environment, or be required to learn overcome the same suicidal thoughts, and the blessings and good fortune you would have received in the next life may be deducted to repay the debt incurred in your previous life. When a person chooses suicide, it is not a mistake, but rather a forced termination of the current life's focus before a lesson has been fully integrated. What does this mean? It means the lesson has not disappeared, it has merely been paused. In a parallel reality, another version of you exists who made a different choice. This means that in a certain parallel version, you did not commit suicide, you persevered. That timeline still exists. What does this signify? It signifies that the universe does not contain a failed you, only versions of you with different focuses. Your current life is merely one such projection of focus. This implies that life is not a matter of chance, but rather a selective experience. The soul does not reincarnate for the sake of comfort. The soul reincarnates to experience stark contrasts. In the non-physical realm, consciousness is fluid and boundless, but creativity in that state, devoid of limitations, contrast, and pressure, is limited. Earth is a highly condensed stage. These limitations make creation real, which is why the soul chooses to enter density. When a soul chooses a life filled with suffering, it is typically choosing to learn through intense energy. We are not singular beings, but possess multidimensional aspects. Physical death is merely the end of one of your incarnations. Your core soul will continue to exist, making adjustments and compensations through incarnations in other parallel worlds or in your next incarnation. Since you are no longer afraid of death, you are the freest person in the world. Use this desire to die to do what you truly want to do. Don't worry about money, fame, or what others think. From all the options available to you, choose the one that brings you even a little joy, even if it's just taking a walk or having a cup of coffee. Do your best to carry it out, focus on the present moment, have zero expectations of the outcome, and let go of your attachment to results. Only then can the universe bring you something better. If you want to die, then let that suffering version of yourself die. Wake up tomorrow morning with a completely different name, completely different hobbies, and a completely different job. Since you're ending something, end that old identity, not your life. The despair you feel right now is actually your powerful energy being misused. As long as you redirect it toward your passion, this energy can lead you to create miracles. Through meditation, the human ego can communicate with its higher self, enter a deep state of samadhi, and send a clear intention to its inner self, saying, I have learned the lesson this predicament was meant to teach me. This part of the contract can now be terminated or optimized. If you have truly grasped the pain and the karmic lessons behind it, the contract will automatically renew itself. The universe is holographic, with countless parallel scripts unfolding simultaneously. When your conscious frequency undergoes a fundamental shift, for example, transitioning from resentment to complete serenity, you will instantly jump into a script of a different frequency, where the original predicament may not even exist. If you feel life is so painful that you want to die, why not try practicing out-of-body experiences first? When you personally witness the vastness of the spirit realm, see the immortality of your soul, and recognize the illusory nature of the physical world, that suffocating sense of having no way out will vanish instantly. You'll realize this is merely a play, and since the script can be rewritten, there's no need to destroy the camera. When you feel suicidal, you can ask your soul team and spirit guides for help, even if you can't hear them. Every life is the result of the spirit world expending immense resources to successfully reincarnate. If you can endure that moment when you want to die, your spiritual team behind you will do everything in their power to adjust the rest of the script for you, provided you be able to attune in to them. In other words, you must first raise your own frequency. If you want to change your current situation, try starting by observing your emotions instead of letting them control you. When you become an observer of your own emotions, you have already begun to break free from the shackles of old scripts. Once your frequency changes, the life script that was once destined to end in tragedy will take a turn. Since you no longer want to live, take the position of an observer and watch your suffering. You will discover that the frequency of that suffering is changing. When pain arises, sit down and observe it. You'll notice a sensation of pain, along with an awareness that knows you're in pain. That pain is an illusion of karma, while that awareness, which knows you're in pain, is the real you. Observe this awareness and realize that pain is false, while awareness is true. If you can recognize that you are not your pain, but rather the observer of that pain, the motivation for suicide will instantly dissolve. You are here because you chose to complete a precious journey of growth, and suicide will not allow you to escape that growth. You do not need to end the pain by leaving, you can get through it with support, understanding, and companionship. You are here because you believe you can create, and suicide is not what you truly want. What you truly want is for the pain to end, that is a different matter, and pain can be transformed. You are not a failed soul, you are a consciousness learning to use its creativity. As long as your consciousness loosens just a little, light will enter. Life will always have a way out, just like in a game, it's impossible for the design to start with a dead end. Your life blueprint is still reviewed from above, only after confirming there is a path to follow will they assign you a soul team and allow you to enter the cycle of reincarnation. It is your mind that wants to die, not your awareness. Have you truly become aware? Your mind wants to solve problems in the quickest, most convenient way. The result of impatience is shutting down and reinstalling the program, then blaming the programmer for poor design. Doesn't that make no sense? Observe yourself a little more. Your life is beautiful and radiant. It's not defined by what others say, you must begin by appreciating yourself. That's all for my sharing today. If you like my videos, please subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss my next video. I'm Fang Lin. Thank you for watching my video. See you next time.